All right. So we have still discussions about being a teaching assistant. Now, classroom instruction techniques, that will be our topic, and that will be on page 63. Right? It's important that you, as a teaching assistant, you are familiar with the instruction techniques that you will use with different kind of students, as well as your collaboration with your teacher and your collaboration with your other teaching assistant. You will be doing it together. So the instructions has to be coordinated. At the same time, the instructions has to be clear because you have young students to assist. Refer to various strategies and methods that teachers use to facilitate learning and engage students in a classroom setting. These techniques are aimed at promoting active participation, critical thinking, and knowledge retention among students. Pay attention with the importance of promoting active participation. That means that the students has to be participative in the discussion. Why? Because they might be sleeping already. Um, they might be physically there, but mentally they're wandering. Wandering, wandering. They're not mentally present there. They're thinking about something else. And that's what you have to avoid because you want your students to pay full attention. Critical thinking is being used if there are certain problems, and then you think of multiple options how to solve it. You are given a task, and then you have to know when to possibly resolve the issue that is given. And then we have knowledge retention among children. You know, nowadays, because of the modern technology, it's difficult for students to remember the lesson. Even you, perhaps, it's difficult for you to remember the lesson that you are learning. You are learning it right now. Next time, you forget it already because we are doing a couple of things. We could be busy for work. We could be busy for our family matters, um, things that we have in mind. So especially because these are children, you have to help them to think and remember the lessons that you are teaching. Let's make it simple. If it's alphabet it's alphabet that you are trying to learn, trying to teach the students, how are they gonna remember it? How at the end of the week they would know how to learn their ABCs, right? So they have to, you know, remember it. Lecture. Again, this is classroom instructions techniques. Lecture. The teacher verbally presents information to the pupils as part of the traditional lecture techniques. The instructor conveys information while the pupil listens and take notes in one-way connection. This is lecture, what we're doing right now. I'm explaining, I hope, with the examples that I'm giving you, you are taking down notes. That is how you take, because that would help you to have retention. When you are when you are teaching through lecture, you give your students an option for them to personalize their learning. That's important. How are they going to apply the lesson to their own practices? Then we move to discussion. This method promotes critical thinking and engagement from the students. Yes, that's true. You promote critical thinking to your students if you ask them the questions how and why. It entails group or entire class conversation where students may express their ideas, pose inquiries, and examine data. By directing the dialogue and promoting other point of views, the instructors help it. Discussion. You discuss. You give your opinion. You give your background information of facts. You evaluate. It says here critical thinking. If you are given a task on how to um, probably a process of photosynthesis, and then you have some materials or some science materials to observe the procedure, then you start the question how and why. How does photosynthesis procedure work? Why this phenomenon happen if it's triggered by this? So that's encouraging critical thinking because that will be also useful in their own practices and in their own lives. Then we have cooperative learning, still part of the classroom instruction techniques, entails splitting up the class into smaller groups so they may work on tasks or project together. This is one of my favorite instructions in classroom management and techniques because um, like in my PhD class right now, we were 36 distant learners. We're from all different parts of the world. I would have classmates from the US, teachers in the US, Thailand, in the Philippines, here in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, in Iraq, in LA. So we are in different parts of the world. Now, how are you gonna do groupings there? In Zoom, there is the breakout rooms. So it's like in a smaller group. It encourages teamwork, problem solving, and social skills. I love social skills. You get to know your classmates, you get to know you can rely on. I personally have learned who among my classmates I can ask if I needed some information. I personally know by the experiences of my classmates there. So you can also apply that with your students. Each person in the group is responsible for certain tasks, and everyone works together to achieve the group's objective. Yeah, that's the goal. Is for you to achieve the group's objective. How? You give them certain roles. You assign who's gonna report. You will assign who's the one gonna gather the information, and then you will see who's the most responsible, who's cooperative. Well, because I'm in the PhD, everyone's cooperative, although there will be some that will be just quiet because they are at home, but that encourages everyone to contribute. Then we have inquiry-based learning. This method promotes critical thinking and engagement from the students. It entails group or entire class conversation where students may express their ideas, pose inquiries, and examine data. By directing the dialogue and promoting their points of view, the instructor helps it. Yes, inquiry-based learning. You keep on asking, you keep on encouraging critical thinking, right? Um, what do you opinions? It's kind of like based on your opinions. Based on opinions supported by facts. If you will have some discussions, right? What? inquiry-based learning. Then we have problem-based learning involves giving pupils situation or issues from the actual world that call for critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. In order to examine the issue, study viable answers, and create a solution, students collaborate, which promotes deeper learning and knowledge application. Problem-based PBL, that means you create a solution. It says here, problem-based learning. If there is a problem, then you will lead the students to the possible options because that will again help them to have a critical thinking. You give them a problem, what could be? Yes, please. Yes. And then we have flipped classroom. Through pre-recorded lectures or online tools, just like what I was doing, I am recording this class, so you would have some reference at the end or during the week. So if you want to check on the discussions or the examples that I've given, you would have a reference. Are introduced to new material outside of the classroom, the use of class time to debates, exercises, and the application of the content taught enables more engaging and tailored learning experiences. Flip Classroom, it says here there are some tools that you use for you to remember the lessons that was given to you. Then we have scaffolding. It's a method where the teacher offers momentary assistance and direction to aid pupils in picking up new ideas and abilities. Students receive less help as they become more capable and autonomous learners. I like this. Like guiding, giving them a framework, an example. So scaffolding is the technique where there will have a pattern for them to make it easier, right? Um, a very easy example, tracing. If you want the child to um, learn how to write, then provide a tracing pad for the alphabet, right? Or like something to copy. If it's artwork, you want to draw something, this is a sample. You show a sample. Visual aids, information, interpretation, and retention are improved by the use of visual aids, including charts, diagrams, graphs, and multimedia presentation. They aid in giving pupils access and a better understanding on abstract topics. Visual aids among your senses. What are your senses? Sense of touch. What else? Smell. Sense of hearing, sense of taste, and sense of sight. So visual aids, this helps you, like if it's like video that would stimulate their learning, then provide a video, a movie, uh, probably a museum visit, a field trip, because you want to experience and see. There are museums here that are interactive that you can touch. If it's like sea creatures, they can touch the starfish, like the seashells in the seawater. There's like a little aquarium, you know, because this will help them to have retention and learning. Hands-on activities entails hands-on experiential learning that requires students to interact with objects, perform experiments, or take part in simulation. These exercises aid in developing critical skills and encourage a deeper comprehension on ideas. Hands-on activities. If my topic talks about say for example, I want to teach the body parts or the anatomy, perform experiment, like you can have a play. If these are toddlers, you can like make them by thought by team. Touch the eyes of your partner. Touch the nose. Touch the shoulder. What is your activity there? Hands on. You want them to like experience and probably have a little game as well. You teach them how to do that. Hands-on activities. If you're teaching about history, there are some museums here. Actually, there's a lot of museums in the UAE. Dubai itself. I am fascinated with museum actually. Even back in the Philippines, I would make it a point for me to visit a museum if I'm in a town. Then we have technology integration, technology-based resources and tools such as interactive whiteboards, learning application, online collaboration platforms, and multimedia presentations can improve participation, interaction, and formation ability. That's true. This is important because the technology right now is something that you can use for your students' learning. If it's tablet that they are used to play with, then use the tablet. If it's the computer that they are familiar in using, then you might as well improve your knowledge when it comes to computer. That is the classroom instruction technique.